Hey there, today we're doing a little bit of traveling, but we're still going to talk to you about a carnivore diet and how you can use it to lose weight and achieve your weight loss goals. I'm Joe with Wellness Weigh-In. I'm a registered nurse by profession, but I love to coach people to achieve greater health. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so for some great tips, tricks, and information along the way. All right, so when we talk about losing weight, what we're really talking about is losing fat. Excessive fat stored in our thighs, our glutes, our gut, our chest, and our neck and face area. We want to get rid of all of that fat. But before we can do that, we need to understand the factors that got us to this point of excessive fat storage. Once we understand those factors, we'll be able to clearly see how the carnivore diet deals with each of those factors and is the best way to achieve fat loss. The first factor I want to talk to you about is hunger. It's no surprise hunger plays a huge role in our weight, whether we're losing, maintaining, or gaining. Hunger is a formidable opponent, right? It's hard to defeat hunger. It requires our attention, it distracts us. It's hard to beat hunger. And some of the foods we eat can affect our hunger. Think of Chinese food. After you eat a whole meal of Chinese food, you're ready to eat just an hour after that meal. So there are foods that bring on hunger pretty quick. There are also foods that make hunger a very strong feeling, makes it intense, if you will. Think about your sweets or your delectable carbs that you like to eat. It's hard to just eat one, right? You can't stop at one, can't stop at two, and it just snowballs because those cravings and your hunger is just intensified by the foods you're eating. The second factor is satiety, that feeling of being satiated or full, that feeling right after you eat a meal where you feel stuffed. That's satiety. And it's really different from hunger, though it goes hand in hand with hunger. And ideally, we want satiety to come on quick, we want it to last long, and we want it to feel strong. That would be in a perfect world. But the fact of the matter is that certain foods will decrease our satiety. It'll drive us to be a bottomless pit. It'll drive us to the fridge and pantry after we eat a full meal. So, satiety has a big role in our weight loss and our weight gain journey. So the third factor we need to understand is the relationship between glucose, insulin, and fat storage. When we eat carbohydrates from sweet stuff, sugary stuff, breads, rice, grains, pastas, those carbohydrates are broken down into glucose. Glucose, in turn, elevates our insulin levels. When our insulin levels are high, our body is in fat storage mode, not fat burning mode, fat storage mode. You're not going to burn a lot of fat when you have a lot of glucose. Your body has an affinity to use glucose first for energy. So again, this is an important concept to understand. Lots of carbohydrates increases insulin, which then puts our body into fat storage mode. Understand that. The fourth factor that I want you to understand is metabolism. This is our body's process to turn food into energy. In terms of weight loss and fat loss, we want a high metabolism, one that is burning hot, that is producing energy and using energy at the same time. Contrary-wise, a sluggish metabolism or a slow metabolism is associated with weight gain and fat gain. So now that we understand those four concepts, we can talk about why the carnivore diet is the best diet to lose fat and lose weight. And it's really because it addresses all of those four factors head on. Now, what is the carnivore diet? The carnivore diet is a diet that is comprised of animal-based products, animal-based foods. So beef, pork, chicken, eggs, seafood, butter, ghee, lamb. And there are different levels of the carnivore diet. Some carnivore purists don't allow spices and don't allow dairy, but then some do. So you have to pick a carnivore diet that best fits your situation. Now, in terms of hunger, ghrelin is one of our body's main hunger hormones. According to a study done by Moon and Co., linked in the description below, ghrelin's release and plasma concentration is decreased with diets high in protein. Again, let me repeat that. Ghrelin, one of our main hunger hormones, is decreased when you eat a diet that is high in protein. So a carnivore diet by nature suppresses hunger. by inhibiting the release of ghrelin. And those bouts of insatiable hunger as you get further into the carnivore diet will dissipate. Now, when it comes to satiety, our gut releases specific hormones when it senses nutrients from foods. Those hormones are GLP-1, CCK, PYY, and those hormones are responsible for giving our body a feeling of fullness or feeling satiated. Now, in the same study I mentioned, it was noted that high protein diets significantly increase the release of and the plasma concentration of those satiety hormones. That means that lots of protein causes you to feel fuller, stronger, faster, and longer, the ideal state. Now, the beauty of a carnivore diet in relation to hunger and satiety is that there's really no need to count calories so long as you're sticking to that strict carnivore diet. We're really listening and becoming in tune to our body, eating when we feel hungry and not eating when we feel satiated. In regards to glucose and insulin, one of the best things about a carnivore diet is that it is virtually a zero carbohydrate diet. And with very low carb diets, your body's insulin levels remain at a low level. And therefore, you move from fat storage mode to fat burning mode. As you get deeper into carnivore diet, your body will no doubt make a metabolic switch to a state we call ketosis. Ketosis is when your body no longer has an affinity to burn glucose for energy, but instead uses your own fat stores for energy by creating ketone bodies. Now, while you don't need to be in ketosis to burn fat, I feel it's the best way and the most efficient way to get rid of all of these fat stores. And lastly, when it comes to metabolism, it was noted in that same study that eating high protein diets increases energy use by increasing diet-induced thermogenesis and also by increasing resting metabolic rate. What does that mean? That means when you eat more protein, you use more energy digesting the protein. And when you're at rest, your body uses more energy on high protein diets. That's a huge plus and a huge advantage for the carnivore diet over other protocols. So if you're serious about dropping the weight and losing the fat, I suggest you give the carnivore diet a shot. And here are just 4 tips, quick tips for you if you're looking to try this out. Number 1, give it at least 30 days, right? You want to give it some time in order to see some progress. Tip number 2, record your metrics and track your progress. Take lots of pictures and set goals. Tip number 3, be spontaneous, be creative. Try new carnivore recipes, try new carnivore foods, and just make it fun. And then the final tip, which is probably the most important, and that is find support. Whether it's your spouse, your family, your friends, your neighbors, your coworkers, find support, find accountability, find encouragement, but be prepared to go it alone. Also, it's rumored out there that the carnivore diet can get expensive, but it doesn't have to be, right? I have a video linked in the description below. It's called Keto on a Budget, 5 tips. But the same principles would apply to the carnivore diet. So watch that video if you want to be budget minded. Hey, if you found this information helpful, tap the like button. I'm Joe on Wellness, trying to get you to weigh in.